Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Thanks for joining us every single week here at the Beyond Emissions podcast, located at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell in the corner, and be a part of our ongoing conversation about what it's going to take to create a world that is beyond emissions. That's our mission here. Also as well, Soligent has the Beyond Emissions podcast available on Spotify, so check it out there, share it with your friends and family, etc. Experts from around the world educating us every single week about renewable energy. That's the how we're going to do it. Of course, the why is all about creating a world that is beyond emissions, that emissions-free future. It has so many advantages for our kids, grandkids, also the here and now, not just with the environment and the impact that it has on our planet. That is huge, by the way, and we could talk a little bit about that today. But also as well, the economic benefits of going beyond emissions and going emissions-free with renewable energy solutions. Amazing. The different experts that we have access to on a weekly basis here on the Beyond Emissions podcast and at Soligent. By the way, become a dealer with us here at Soligent. Click on the link below and join us here. Just thousands of dealers and installers around the country, around the world, I dare say, that enjoy the benefits of working with Soligent. One of them being that we, because we're the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas, we have access to experts from just a myriad of different subjects in the renewable energy world, whether it's racking, whether it's solar panels, or inverters, or charge controllers. I mean, you name it. The lists go on and on. Coming up next week, I believe we have a gentleman from a company called Savant, who has created an amazing technology, a load management system that allows you to maximize your battery systems. And batteries. Why do they matter so much? Well, peace of mind. It isn't just going off grid these days. There are folks that, you might have, everyone's why is different. Everyone's why is different. So your why might be to go off grid. You might want an emergency load battery backup. You might want to offset the higher charges at night and maybe use just 10 kilowatt hours every day of your excess PV array energy produced at nighttime instead of paying those larger rates. Or NEM 3 in California might necessitate that you have a certain amount of kilowatt hours every day of total storage that you would normally send back that's not consumed, that the PV array produces throughout the day. And now that it's only like 8 cents a kilowatt hour under NEM 3 in California, the return on investment for solar only isn't worth it. So getting storage, though, does make it worth it. And it's all about properly sizing. I could tell you about this all day long. It's my passion. I love batteries. I'm a nerd, I know. Well, nerd out with us today because we got some battery experts in the house. Spencer Christensen, a friend of the Brummster, a friend of the program here at the Beyond Emissions podcast, and also as well, director of HomeGrid, a founder at HomeGrid Batteries by Lithion. He's on the program today. So excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us at the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent. Spencer, welcome to the program.
Thank you. We're very happy to be on.
Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting. The whole world, they're tuning in. They're trying to look up stuff about batteries and solar. And at the end of the day, you can just tune into the Beyond Emissions podcast and learn everything that you want to learn, right? It's all about energy in versus energy out. It's all about customization. And, I know that about HomeGrid, especially the systems that you've designed are built around everything you can imagine customizable. The ability to customize someone's energy storage system in 4.8 kilowatt hour increments really helps you get the exact amount of stuff. I just love it. Customization is key. welcome HomeGrid, one of the best batteries in the business available here. Click down below, folks. Get your HomeGrid systems from Soligent. Spencer, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself. Let our listeners know a little bit about yourself. You founded HomeGrid. Let them know about HomeGrid and what you're all about, my man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, thank you for having me on. So I'm Spencer. I'm based out of Salt Lake City. I spent a lot of the last couple of decades up in the mountains of the Wasatch. I love nature, anything in skiing and mountain biking and climbing. I'm an avid environmentalist, and I definitely got a little bit of that prepper in me. Being from Utah, our mindset's definitely on making sure that we have everything you need in any situation, and because of that mindset, kind of a mix between environmentalism and just having the little bit of prepper in me. I was very interested in this emerging market. We were all looking at what Sonnen was doing over in Germany with their batteries, and we were looking at what Tesla kind of introduced here into the U.S. market with batteries, and we wanted to enter the fray. So a couple years ago, there was several of us that put our heads together and tried to figure out exactly what homeowners were really looking for with battery storage. And what we thought was a full home microgrid was the next piece of the puzzle. It appeared that net metering was going to go away. The utility companies didn't really want to be the customer anymore. So as that happened, solar made much more sense with batteries. And like you said, there's a number of reasons somebody would want to get a battery. So, as we started this, we were really just trying to address what, homeowners really want out of their battery bank. And what we're going for is an appliance. Like, it's plug and play, seamless, easy to install, easy to use, and an all-around great experience for both the installers and the homeowners.
Spencer Christensen, founder and director of HomeGrid, with us today at the Beyond Emissions podcast. At any time, you guys can click down, listeners, on the link below and join up with us here at Soligent and have access to HomeGrid energy storage solutions. I ask this rhetorical question, Spencer, every time I come on the broadcast. Thank you very much, audience. I mean, you tune in every single week. Type in your answers in the comment section as well. What does beyond emissions mean to you? Spencer, what's your answer there? What does beyond emissions mean to you, this mission of creating an emissions-free future? What does it mean to you?
No, that's a great question. I think looking at where we have landed as, as a collective group of people, I think everybody can be on the same page that the less pollution that we have, the better. I think most people are on board with cleaner air, cleaner water, and, enjoying what that means for us day to day. So I think if we take a step back, we do realize that we have the tech already to eliminate significant amounts of the pollution, if not, really reducing all of the pollution in certain sectors at some level, right? And so if we're focusing more on the energy sector, we're shifting now from burning, old plants and ancient materials and to turn a turbine. Now what we're doing is harnessing the power of the massive thermonuclear generator in the sky that comes up every day, blasting us with energy. And I think what we're seeing is that by capturing that energy, we can significantly reduce the amount of pollution that enters the water and in the air. So then it's about innovating just to make sure that it integrates well into the communities that we've built.
And that's a big part of it, isn't it? Creating energy and distributing energy, two different animals. And the utilities right now, they have a monopoly, most of them. I live in California. Welcome to monopoly, right? I live in Baltic instead, not in Park Place and Boardwalk, when it comes to the monopoly metaphor of the utilities in our area here. They are doing their darndest to come out with the message in California. Had Brad Hevner, policy director at CALSA, California Solar Storage Association, on Beyond Emissions a couple of weeks ago, and he said that the utilities in trying to fight NEM 2 and some of the benefits of energy storage in NEM 3, they were concerned and running around with this narrative that solar somehow hurts poor people. And no, if anything, you've witnessed it. Solar and energy storage and the renewable energy revolution, has created more jobs and opportunities in an economic sense than anything I've ever seen in my lifetime. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Warren Buffett called it the largest transfer of wealth in history. You now have, instead of a centralized model of one power plant that can't really raise or lower its output on demand, is now transforming into a distributed model, a decentralized model where homeowners can become their own microgrid, their own power plant. By using a ground mount in your backyard or allocating some space from your roof, now you can offset your entire power bill, your entire electric bill by, again, capturing that energy that's hitting your home every single day from the sun. And then by storing it in your battery, you can use that same power that you captured by your solar array during the day. You can use it at night. So I think, because it's a decentralized model, I work all day, every day with all of our installers and, the different integration groups that are helping us integrate the battery into the homes around the country. So I get to see, these are working class, great Americans, salt of the earth, a lot of entrepreneurs that are able to start an incredible solar company, an install company, and go out there and really bring it to the masses. You don't have to be a PhD. You don't have to be a nuclear physicist. You can just be, like the rest of us, just everyday people that want to make a difference, that want to start a great business. And now we have thousands, tens of thousands of great people entering the fray. And I think the amount of solar being captured is spiking dramatically. I think people are realizing it's not just like some prepper, piece of equipment. It's a really incredible tool that we all have to become more independent and save a lot of money.
Spencer Christensen with us today, founder, director of HomeGrid by Lithion. Available. Get your HomeGrid energy storage solutions today. Click on the link below and join us here at Soligent. Become a dealer. Become one of those entrepreneurs. I'm telling you, if you've got some integrity, you're willing to work hard, and you're willing to serve other people and help them get what they need, want, and desire, you can be a star in the solar industry. There's a lot of opportunities of growth here in the solar business. So many great jobs. And wow, so you talked a little bit about that instead of the widely distributed model, now we have independent microgrids, such a short distance. I mean, back in the day when DC, before AC power won out, alternating current, being able to transfer power over long distances, if you had electricity, say in Edison's day, it was generally speaking a very disgusting, fossil fuel coal ran or something power plant on every block. And that DC power could only go a certain distance. And so you had your power plant that was right there, and it didn't work out. But now, fast forward, that DC model of having your energy storage, your solar right there on your property, it does work out. Wow, what a difference. That dream of Edison of DC power coming back. We're not getting rid of our 120 loads, right? We're not getting rid of what we're used to, but isn't it amazing how it's coming full circle almost? And Edison would be proud, right?
Truly, I think he would love it, actually.
It's something that I just marvel at when I see the change of events and how everything is becoming, you said decentralized. It's really the ultimate form of freedom that every American can take a hold of this power themselves, literally take a hold of this power themselves and chart their own destiny. And instead of renting their power, they can own their power. Right now, if I'm just a customer with the utility and I don't have solar or storage, what's happening? It's like I'm just renting. I'm renting the power. It's gone. It's gone forever. Whereas once you own it, you're there producing your own power every single day and you own it. That return on investment has always been great with solar by itself, but now some of these different net metering agreements are changing, especially in California. And energy storage is going to be key. Spencer Christensen, founder, director of HomeGrid with us today. HomeGrid available at Soligent. Click the link below. Spencer, HomeGrid with its 4.8 kilowatt hour increments is really set for success. And because you have to match up the total amount of storage. It's just not this one magical amount for every single customer. I have a 2,000 square foot home. That's great for sizing carpet, but not energy storage. If you take the amount of energy that each customer needs and divide it by 4.8, you can figure out how many HomeGrid units you'll need. Like you really have that customization thing down. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We noticed a couple of issues. Well, first I'll mention on the installer side, we noticed that they were having significant issues taking a 500-pound or 800-pound battery and putting it on a wall. It takes several guys and a hydraulic lift to get it on the wall. Walls aren't actually usually made for that amount of weight. And getting it around the site, if you had it in, a site that wasn't super easily accessible, it became problematic. So for the installers, there wasn't a lot of customization that they could do because they were dealing with such a heavy block. It was just one solid lumped battery all in one. So from the installer perspective, we wanted to make sure that it was more agile than that, a more mobile application. So we designed, we went after more of a Lego-like form factor in smaller increments. And also for the homeowner, they were often buying batteries that were low-powered and you'd have to add several of them, and it wasn't really customized for their home energy needs. So what we were trying to go for was a very high-powered battery bank that was modular, so you could really customize it for whatever size you were looking for. And then on that front, we were also looking for the right chemistry, so you could get that high output and also meet, the best safety requirements and that it would be long lasting. We wanted to make sure we had a chemistry that had little degradation relatively, so it could last, 10, 20 years.
It's all about customization. Spencer Christensen, director, founder of HomeGrid Batteries, here with us today. Get your HomeGrid solution. Click below. Join us here at Soligent and have access to their wonderful technology. Learning all about it today at the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. Join us in this conversation about creating a world that is beyond emissions. Also as well at Spotify, Beyond Emissions by Soligent. You are amazing. You hit the nail on the head. Hold on just a second. Excuse me, sir. Would you like to buy solar? It comes with this battery right here that'll power your whole house. So when the grid goes down, you'll have power in your whole house. That guy with the clipboard, Spencer, just doing his job or her job, right? We all know that little magical battery that's on that flyer that got handed out, that's misinforming people. That's why HomeGrid and systems like HomeGrid that have customization at the core of what you're offering. Customization is key. Not one battery, maybe two, maybe six, maybe eight. We don't know, but we have to figure it out. What are some of the things that installers and customers that might be tuning in, of our installers that are in our network, both tune in to the Beyond Emissions podcast? What are they supposed to be looking for when figuring out what size energy storage system they might need for their homes? I mean, really, everybody's why is different, right? Talk a little bit about that.
No, that's a great question. Again, it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. We have a really great sizing tool on our website, homegridenergy.com, and you can input your consumption in there, and it'll put out recommended sizes. I would say though, because it's so easy to customize, if you're looking, I think the number one use case for batteries in the next couple of years here will be with rising energy rates. Most of your solar production is in the morning from 10 to 1, but most of the consumption is in the afternoon and evening. So you're going to want to store power on your battery, and it'll offset your consumption from the power grid in the afternoon and evening until the next day when the sun comes back up and recharges the system. So the easiest way, the best rule of thumb, I think, is to look at the daily consumption of a homeowner and then divide that in half. So let's say you had 50 kilowatt hours, and that's a pretty good amount of power that you're consuming every day. I think the average in the U.S. is 30. Let's take 50 for easy math. Let's go 50 kilowatt hours. If you divided that in half, you'd want around a 25 kilowatt hour battery. And because our batteries go in increments of around 5 kilowatt hours, it's super easy math. And at that point, you really shouldn't have a bill. But because our battery stacks like Legos, it only takes 10 minutes to add a module. So within 10 to 15 minutes, you can upgrade your entire system, and you don't have to run more conduit. You don't have to have to bring down a bunch of cable from the roof. It's just adding an extra Lego onto the stack, and you're good to go. So for installers, they love it because they get happier customers. It's easier to install. The install is only about 30 to 40 minutes usually for our battery, which is also very nice. So instead of having to deal with multi-day installations, you can deal with a much smaller or a smaller window for the installation time. So homeowners are happier, installers are happier, and then installers can move on to the next job. So with that, I would say the problem before was that you had to do critical load panels as well. And a critical load panel was just simply designated circuits, a couple of your 120 circuits usually, like your fridge and lights in case the power went out. The nice thing about our system, especially when paired up with really great inverters like the Solarc 15K, is we truly can do, it has 3 to 4 times more output than some of the other systems that we've seen on the market. So because it's so powerful, it can actually truly power an entire home. And so then you're not having to do another big install with a critical load panel and all of these extra features. So it's so much easier to customize for the home, and it's also a much more seamless process while you're installing it.
I like that you said that. There are, misleading battery commercials and flyers and salespeople coming up trying to sell their batteries and you name it, right? Doing their job, whatever, right? But we're the experts, so we're here to help you and set you straight, listeners, at the Beyond Emissions by Soligent podcast. Spencer Christensen, founder, director of HomeGrid. HomeGrid batteries available. Click on the link below and join us as an installer, a dealer of HomeGrid today here at the link at the Beyond Emissions podcast. It's all about customization. And, you talked about the power and the ability to back up the whole home because of that additional power. And you mentioned something as a part of your explanation, and that was when utilizing of an awesome inverter like the Solarc 15K. And by the way, folks, the Solarc 15K, Andy Goldstein from Solarc is coming up in a few episodes. We're going to learn more about that here at the Beyond Emissions podcast. And the reason why I say this is that misleading information that people just see on a quick YouTube video, or they hear from the little guy with the clipboard at Home Depot or Costco or whatever. You don't just plug a battery into a house. It doesn't work that way. Most batteries or all batteries, they're DC, they're direct current. So you've got to take what is a 48 volt nominal battery, and you've got to run that through a proper inverter system that can not just turn that into usable energy, but has the functionality. You mentioned getting rid of the need to have to only power your emergency loads. That 200 amp internal transfer switch and some of the functionality of the Solarc inverter, it really is a game changer, isn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, if you're looking at the implications of that, is phenomenal. I think most homeowners don't really want to spend, $15 and $20 or $20,000 on a system that only powers their fridge and lights. Most of them would rather go with a generator. But when you're looking at a system that makes a full microgrid for your home, that can power your entire home, that's super easy to install and, is much more cost effective, then it changes the conversation. Then they're thinking, okay, wow, now all of a sudden I'm a power plant, the power shuts off, it's seamless, my lights wouldn't even flicker, I wouldn't even notice. If the power company raises the rates, I don't have to care about that because it doesn't affect me. I think it's a totally different conversation, especially in certain areas like California, where the power bills are, if you're looking at 30 to 40 cents a kilowatt hour on peak times, being able to offset your power bill with a battery and watching the ROI grow massively over the years, it's very appealing to a growing number of homeowners.
Yeah, if you look at, let's just as an example, let's say from 4 to 9 p.m., so for those 5 hours, let's say that, like you mentioned, it's an example. It doesn't mean it's for every one of your homes. It could be a different variable for everyone. But the math that you mentioned, right? 40 cents per kilowatt hour. And let's say that you're consuming, 25 kilowatt hours out of your total 50, when the sun's not shining. And let's say during that period of time when rates are around, say 30, 40 cents a kilowatt hour, let's call it 35 cents. So 35 cents times 25 kilowatt hours a day, that's $8.75 times 365 days a year. That's $3,193.75 a year. That's almost $3,200 a year in that higher per kilowatt hour charge that some families are paying, even if they have solar, but at nighttime, for example. So now you get energy storage in the mix, and you offset that 25 kilowatt hours a day by utilizing the stored energy and then using it at night when the sun's not shining. That $3,200 a year of savings, again, it's different for everyone. This isn't a promised savings. This is just based on our example of if you use 50 kilowatt hours and 25 of that, is unusable, let's say, and you want to be able to store that and use that throughout the day or at night when the sun's not shining. $3,000 a year or so of average savings over the life of a system that's going to last 20 years. There's some ROI in that. Storage, really isn't just about the peace of mind and battery backup when the grid goes down. It can actually pay for itself, can't it? Talk a little bit about that.
No, that's exactly right. I think what we're seeing, and most of the other utility companies usually look at California, if they're going to look at PG&E or SoCal Edison and see what they're doing, right? And then they usually map out, some years later, their platform, just like the California model. And they've done that for years. And if we look at California passing NEM 3, in my mind, what happened was the utility companies just realized that they were all of a sudden becoming the customer, and that's not really their business model, right? So they lobbied the government, got it shut down, and now homeowners are facing the dilemma of really high power rates. So a lot of them are wanting to shift to solar, but with net metering not being in the mix anymore, it only makes sense for you to become your own microgrid. You have to store your power with a battery, and then in the evening, battery kicks back on, and it'll power you through. It's a seamless transfer. There's no hassle to it. You can program in the settings in the inverter when you want the battery to turn on, and without even thinking about it every single day. Instead of drawing from the electrical grid, you are just drawing from the stored solar power that you have produced that day, and the battery is going to carry you through to the next day. And the ROI, like you mentioned, is fantastic. These batteries are composed of the best chemistry, the best cells on the market. We do anticipate that they will last 15 to 20 years if put in the right conditions. And so, carried over 15 plus years, you're going to see significant returns. Utility rates are rising around the country, and we can anticipate that will continue. So locking in your rates and being able to forecast what your bill is going to be is very attractive for most homeowners.
Yeah, I mean, we could even work it out. I mean, in that example, if you're offsetting the 25 kilowatt hours a day with HomeGrid storage from Soligent, again, Spencer Christensen, founder, director of HomeGrid batteries here on the Beyond Emissions podcast. And we're doing some math showing you the ROI, return on investment of storage. It's really there. Not just peace of mind of having battery backup when the grid goes down, but it actually can pay for itself. And it's almost like the battery backup when the grid goes down is now the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, whereas before it was the primary value proposition. Right, Spencer?
That's exactly right. I think it's totally shifting. At the beginning, the groups that were the most interested in batteries were kind of the prepper groups, the DIY groups, and the equipment was really complicated, so it catered more towards those groups. But now, as we enter into an appliance that powers your entire home, the benefit is so much more than just when the power shuts off. It's every day when the sun goes down. You're saving money, every single day, and these systems really do pay for themselves over the years. So not only is it appealing for the independent side of it, and the ability to have power during blackouts, but it's also financially very viable.
And just curious, we're going to run through a little bit of math and have some fun doing it because I love it, because in my opinion, math is key. Spencer, I don't know if you sounds like you agree. It's really the key, right? If you understand math and how it applies to your renewable energy system, you can really figure out a solution for any customer depending on what it is what their goal is, right? So Spencer, curious about what is retail for a 4.8 kilowatt hour bank? I'm trying to figure out 5 of the 4.8 kilowatt hour banks in the stacked series, along with a BMS unit. What would that retail approximately?
The MSRP at that would be around $3,000 a block. So then you're looking around $15,000 MSRP.
Okay, about 15,000. And does that include the BMS structure on it as well, roughly?
The BMS is retailed around just under $2,000.
Okay,
so I would say
17.
MSRP, the average system we sell would be the 19.2, so 4 modules.
Okay. So, but for our example of 25 kilowatt hours that we just figured out, where basically
Yep.
they're going to save about $3,200 a year in our
Yep.
offset of 25 kilowatt hours a day in savings. So let's call it 17,000. And then what are we looking at on average for a 12K solar? About 8,000 roughly, somewhere around
I
there.
think it's a little bit less than that. I think it's about 7,000.
Let's call it 24,000. So 24,000 is your investment. And now, by the way, folks, HomeGrid and Solar qualify. We're not CPAs. It depends on your tax situation, accordingly. But let's assume that you qualify for the 30% federal tax credit. So now your adjusted investment really is 24,000 times or minus 30% times 0.7. I do it weird. 16,800. So 16,800 divided by $3,200 a year of savings. This is if we were to offset with 5 of the 4.8 kilowatt hour batteries in the stack with a BMS and a 15K solar. This doesn't include the PV array, but this can be a AC coupled solution where you're getting hosed. Say at night, you've got solar during the day, and then at nighttime, you're getting charged 40 cents a kilowatt hour. We're just assuming that that might be 25 kilowatt hours in the evening that you're consuming. Not every night, but just for math's sake, that's $3,200 savings at 25 cents a 30 cents a kilowatt hour. We could have gone 40 cents. We could have even guessed higher, right, Spencer? So 16,800, that's the retail cost minus the 30% federal tax credit divided by 3,200 equals 5.25 years. So in 5 years, a battery system that should last 20 plus in 5 years completely pays for itself. Just on that one front. Just on that one front. There's other value propositions we could look at too. But on that one front, helping a customer with that one goal by consuming their own energy they produce during the day at night instead of selling it back. On that one front, in 5 years, it's paid for. I mean, again, the math variables are different for everyone, but isn't that amazing what math can show us, Spencer? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I think there's some really great platforms out there that installers are using, different solar companies are using to really showcase how much it pencils out, how well it pencils out now. They'll take the power bill of the homeowner and put it in the system. It'll pop out numbers because numbers, like you said, are what everybody wants to see. They want to see the ROI. They want to see what it means for them and their family. So yes, it's incredible. Now, solar and batteries are a financially viable solution, not just an accessory that will help you in outages, but it's going to save you money over the years.
The HomeGrid solution available at Soligent, folks. Click on the link below. Beyond Emissions Podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. We're partnered up with HomeGrid, and we have their solutions available nationwide. Click on the link below. Spencer Christensen with us, director of HomeGrid, founder of HomeGrid, here on the Beyond Emissions Podcast. Our fun in the sun that we have all the time, Spencer, is with off-grid. It's a whole nother animal because you can't use averages. You've got to maybe have a generator available when there's inclement weather. But again, a solution like the Solarc inverter system, 15K or even down as low as the 5K, you pair that with a properly sized HomeGrid lithium iron phosphate system, and you do a load evaluation. Again, the math, name and wattage of every electrical load you want to run, how many hours or minutes each load might run on a max use day. Boom. This is great for off-grid customers too, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We do feel like our product is for, any home in the market. Might be main market, suburb home. It might be, even a small, tiny home. But where we really shine, where the difference is very stark and apparent on the quality of this product, is definitely in the luxury space and in the off-grid space, where, in the off-grid space, like you said, they are totally reliant on this system every single day. And so they need it to work. They need it to power everything. And that's our bread and butter, is being able to really assess the demand and loads of the home, and then being able to actually produce enough output to match those loads. So yes, we love the off-grid market. We do a lot of work over in Hawaii, and a fun customer base that we have is also with the Amish. They are really big off-grid customers of ours, and we love working with them, and they really know their stuff with batteries. And I think it's a really great partnership. These groups that really understand off-grid and really require the performance to power their home have really been drawn to our product line and the Solar 15K, and then like the Schneider.
Available at Soligent. That's right. Click on the link below. HomeGrid solutions paired with a wonderful, off-grid or hybrid inverter system like the Solark or the Schneider electric inverter system, available from Solark. Click on the link below and get your HomeGrid battery solutions today. Spencer Christensen with us. I'm going to backtrack for just a quick second, Spencer. You mentioned it earlier. I'm a homeowner. Let's say I go out and I buy a 4-stack, 4.8 kilowatt hour HomeGrid batteries and a BMS. It's kind of like, folks, I think of it almost like the hamburger. You have your base, and then you put your batteries in between, and then it's like your buns. You got the BMS bun on top. It's so cool. Go check it out. HomeGrid by Lithion, available here at Soligent. So someone in our example, let's say we figured that they needed 25 kilowatt hours, but you know what? Their budget right now is just to be able to afford, say, four units for about 20 kilowatt hours roughly. Okay, but they're thinking they might need more a year or two down the road, maybe one or two more batteries. A lot of battery companies out there, they don't allow for that flexibility. You got to buy this and you're stuck with it, basically. That's not the case with HomeGrid. You mentioned it earlier, but drill down on that a little bit for us. The expandability.
Yeah, that's a great point. The way that we designed it was that there's no cables on the side. It's simply our 4.8 kilowatt hour blocks that rest on each other, and it has a busing system, a male-female busing system that allows it for a seamless install. Now, if you want to add down the road, all you have to do is remove the BMS and put on another battery bank, and boom, you've upgraded your entire system. You just have to flip a couple of switches on the side, and you're good to go. Under 15 minutes, you've upgraded your entire battery bank.
One of the biggest costs of the solar industry is time, right? Time.
Right.
You don't talk to a contractor or installer out there without, the biggest objections I got being in the battery business, talking to solar companies. Yeah, I tried a battery job a couple years ago and just spent all my time going back out to the job site 50 times. And yeah, I don't do batteries anymore. Well, now under NEM 3 in California, it's going to be a have to. Solar's ROI is not going to come by selling back to the grid anymore at 8 cents a kilowatt hour. Customers are going to have energy storage. That turns the conversation to our installers that are tuning in right now, and solar companies tuning in that have had that response thus far. Yeah, I'm not doing batteries. I don't want to mess with it. Yeah, it eats up too much time, etc. Right? Well, with the business model changing, what would you advise these installers, and I mean, get into the battery business, embrace it, and embrace a solution like HomeGrid that decreases that time at a job site. Talk a little bit about that.
I totally understand kind of where these groups were coming from. I don't think the technology was there for main market with batteries yet. I think it was a cumbersome install. It didn't give the output that homeowners were hoping for. But now it's a totally different conversation, especially with that metering ending. These batteries are much closer to an appliance. 30-minute install, easy to upgrade, powers the entire home, and great aesthetics. And I think when an installer tries one of our batteries, they realize that just like with all technologies, you look at phones 15 years ago, they were totally different than they are today. TVs, everything, right? The nice thing about this space is we went from Edison's day to now, where the electrical grid hasn't really innovated that much, and then in comes solar, where innovation is happening very quickly, and so it's an exciting time. Installers are realizing that even from 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, batteries have progressed significantly, and now have entered into this new phase where it does make sense for the homeowner to do it. It makes sense for the installer to do it. It's not as cumbersome. It looks great. It's a seamless process. So we've almost exclusively had repeat customers. Everybody that we've worked with has really enjoyed the innovation behind this battery bank, and we're continually working with those installers coming back to help out more homeowners.
And installers listening, a contractor, a solar dealer tuning in. By the way, folks, if you are interested, join the Soligent Dealer Network, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Click on the link below. Join us right here, Beyond Emissions Podcast. Tell them we sent you, and get HomeGrid from us here at Soligent. Okay. So these contractors, these installers, these solar dealers, they're talking with, Mrs. Smith. And Mrs. Smith says, "Oh, but I don't want to do lithium because of the fires. There's all kinds of fires and with lithium in the news, and the cars that they can't even put out, and just they have to watch it burn. And there's just fires everywhere with lithium. Is lithium safe?" Well, I think we have an answer, Mrs. Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Christensen, founder, director of HomeGrid, safe lithium iron phosphate. Talk about the differences. Not all lithium is the same, right?
That's a great point. The previous iterations of batteries in this space were using a chemistry known as NMC, or nickel manganese cobalt batteries. They have lithium in them, but they had high thermal runaway and propagation, which means that they could explode or light on fire. And now the shift is towards lithium iron phosphate. It's a very stable chemistry. We've gone through extensive testing on this. We actually have the railgun contract, and for part of the testing, we had to shoot these cells with a 50 caliber gun, and nothing happened. It actually worked for another 3 minutes. Don't try that at home, folks. But basically, the difference is very stark. If you look at some of the other batteries on the market using NMC, they're usually just repurposing cells from vehicles that are made for mobile applications. It's the same cells in the cars and the same chemistry as you'd see in a phone or a laptop. They need to be a little bit lighter. But for a home battery, it's just sitting there, right? So then because it's not mobile, weight isn't as much of an issue. So now we can go towards catering it towards the aspects of a battery for a home that do matter, like high output, safety. So as we've gone through the test on this, we have the 9540A certificate, and the results on that is that it yielded no flame. And if you want to watch a fun YouTube video, if you look up NMC batteries versus LFP batteries, fire, there's a couple of really good tests that they do where it's pretty clear that the difference is very stark, and lithium iron phosphate is definitely the future of home batteries.
And not only is lithium iron phosphate safer than NMC just from a chemistry standpoint, it's also got more longevity. Talk about that. Additional life cycles, one chemistry versus another, NMC versus lithium iron phosphate. If you go with LiFePO4, lithium iron phosphate, you get a longer life expectancy, more life cycles delivered, more usable energy over the life of your investment. Am I right on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, think about the last time you had to replace your phone. I have to replace my phone every couple of years because, mainly because the battery has degraded so much in the time that I've used it that I'm getting a fraction of what I started with. With lithium iron phosphate, you're going to get up to, sometimes twice as much plus of the life out of your battery. The degradation isn't anywhere near the same as NMC. If you think about, often with like a power tool, right? If you take a power tool and you're often hearing about the memory that they have, you have to cycle them correctly. That's because those are all, as mobile applications, are NMC batteries. With lithium iron phosphate, the degradation due to that memory is significantly less. So you're able to really, cycle it for your home's needs and not have to worry about the high degradation. Also, with lithium iron phosphate, we can discharge the battery all the way down rather than using only 50 to 60% at most of the battery. So you're actually getting a lot more bang for your buck.
And the Department of Energy doing a great job. We're investing millions of dollars into building battery plants and distribution in the United States. I know HomeGrid, Lithion, you're in Nevada. But talk a little bit about just down the road, 20, 30 years down the road, someone needs to turn in their old battery system and get another HomeGrid maybe at that time, depending on what the new iteration is, the new flavor. Lithium, is there a recycling solution that's on the horizon or already here, or in this business, what are you seeing as far as the future of the recyclability of the lithium iron phosphate that we use today?
That's a great question. At the last big solar show, RE+, I saw many new companies that are popping up that are hyper-focused on the recycling of these batteries. You can imagine 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that the market for recycling is going to be very significant. It's going to be a very big market. There already are companies, very great companies, that do recycle these batteries. I've talked to several, and what they told me is that it's much easier for them to recycle LFP batteries rather than NMC batteries because of the safety factor. But yes, there's already great recycling companies out there, but I do anticipate that the innovation will be significant over the next 10, 15 years as electric vehicles, are on the rise, and also home storage is on the rise. If you get a HomeGrid battery today from Soligent, by the time you need to recycle them, there is going to be an abundance of solutions readily available to you.
Yeah, I see the same thing. Just imagine, I come from a world of lead acid batteries in my former career. And in the lead acid world, one of the things we take pride in is that it's the most recycled product on planet Earth, more than aluminum cans, more than bottles, more than plastic, more than paper, more than anything on Earth. 98, 99% of every lead acid battery is recycled into a brand new lead acid battery because of that circle that, just constantly feeds itself. And some friends of mine and I, in the old battery business I was in, we used to talk about that. Imagine how much a lead acid battery for your car or your truck, because even with electrical vehicles, they still use a small 12-volt battery inside for certain accessories and just to run some subcomponents. So
Right.
the lead acid business is not going away. It's so sustainable. Imagine how much a lead acid battery would cost the consumer if there wasn't such a recycling program going on in the business. So we see that that's just going to become an economic reality as well in the lithium space, huh?
I totally agree. One of the best books that I could recommend is Freeing Energy by Bill Nussey, and he goes extensively over the recycling process. And he's definitely an optimist on looking at the horizon of recycling for lithium iron phosphate in all lithium batteries. And with solar panel recycling on the rise, the innovation is already taking place to make sure that these are very recyclable and that we can get the most out of these products.
What does your current supply chain look like? I know prices are stable. Supply is stable. You can order HomeGrid lithium iron phosphate safe long life batteries today at Soligent. Click on the link below. Get connected with a Soligent expert today here at the Beyond Emissions podcast. Spencer Christensen, HomeGrid founder and director of HomeGrid, today with us on the show. Supply chains, though, what does that look like? It, again, seems to be stable at the moment. But lithium iron phosphate, the cells you have to make for your batteries, is the supply chain, is it going in a good direction? Are we in a good place right now as consumers of HomeGrid lithium iron phosphate batteries in America?
That's a great question as well. We chose little over a year ago to be acquired by a group called Lithion, and they were some of the, one of the divisions of Lithion is Valence, and they were some of the early pioneers of lithium iron phosphate. So there were a couple of reasons we decided to do that. Number one is we wanted to ensure that we had great supply chain. Lithion's a fantastic company that has a lot of experience in the space, great relations with some of the cell manufacturers, and with serious plans to shift back the manufacturing to the U.S. They've already done so with several other lines of theirs, and so we wanted to be key players in this space. We knew that we had the best tech, and so to ensure that we have the supply readily available for homeowners, we became part of a much bigger machine. So we have in our facilities down in Vegas and in Henderson, Nevada, we have an abundance of batteries there. So you can count on that. You'll always be able to get product from Soligent. Our lead times are very quick. Usually under 2 weeks or less, and so we're seeing no supply chain issues. If you're looking at lithium iron phosphate batteries, the nice thing is you can get the iron simply from grinding up old cars. So there's an abundance of iron, obviously on the crust of the earth as well. I think with NMC batteries, they were seeing a lot of shortages with cobalt and with nickel.
Yep.
Cobalt recently has been kind of under the eye of society, as there was a lot of child labor associated with it in the Congo. So not dealing with those rare earth metals and being able to source from, much more abundant supplies, much more abundant sources is allowing us to really always have product available for our customer base.
Oh, man, I love having you on the program. You got to come back. You got to come back. Spencer Christensen, director and also founder of HomeGrid. And you can get your HomeGrid battery solutions available at Soligent. Like he said, it's available. Yeah. Lead times in the battery business. Sometimes for some of these, people that are wait and see, especially in California, we'll wait to make our POs see what happens. Yeah. And those are the folks that are dealing with 3 to 4 month lead times. We don't have that going on with our partners at HomeGrid and Soligent. We have the product available and your lead times are fantastic. I was pointing that out on an email just the other day. Someone was asking a question, and I said, but I think we could get it to them in like a week or two. I mean, that is literally
Exactly.
how great your service is, and your supply right now is available. It's fantastic. I'm so thankful that we get to work with you and Jonah and your company. By the way, if an installer or contractor that's tuning in right now to Beyond Emissions by Soligent, here at the Soligent YouTube channel, tuning in right now and is interested in working with HomeGrid. Now, part of the reason why people want to move forward with a certain brand is they get trained, they get educated. You're willing to provide personalized training for sales teams out there and engineers out there for our listeners that are in the solar business, aren't you?
Absolutely. We are now operating in all 50 states. We're now expanding into Latin America and Europe, and we've been able to shift to a distribution-based model. So now we can work with Soligent to get this product out to you, which really streamlines the entire process. They're experts at the distribution game. So now our focus can shift towards making sure that the installers have all of the sales training and install training that they need. We've got an incredible team of both, sales support and also on the tech support side. So if you want to learn more on the install side or on the sales side, if you have general questions, you can find on homegridenergy.com on the contact page. We've got a map that'll break it up for different territories, different regions. You can find your regional rep. Hop on a call with them, and they can give you a full rundown, answer all of your questions.
I've got a big facility. It's a big, huge facility, and I'm interested, but it's a commercial building with commercial energy use. You're just mainly for houses, right? I'm just joking. Right? You have commercial. You have commercial.
That's a great question.
You have commercial solutions too through Soligent, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. For commercial, whether it be small commercial or larger commercial, we do have solutions. For smaller commercial, a great option is using the SolarArc 15K. If you use 3 SolarArc 15Ks paired up with our battery bank, you can get that 208 volt 3-phase. We're seeing that on the rise. We actually, something super exciting is we last week in Hawaii are now backing up the Mauna Loa Observatory, which is where they have the with the Keeling curve. Basically, it's the most important carbon emissions reading facility in the world. It's where they do they're monitoring all of the carbon emissions. That's present at today's date. So something interesting to look at is that carbon emissions on the Keeling curve and seeing where we're at today. And it's definitely on the hockey stick effect. So, facilities like that, different commercial facilities like that, we're definitely able to back up. And because the SolarArc has such a fast transfer time, 5 milliseconds, which is less than 1 sine wave, you're not even going to see a flicker of the lights. So it's actually a true UPS or uninterrupted power supply. So we're backing up servers and hospitals and, you name it.
Reliable, available, safe, long life. Long life. I like that one. Because I don't want to buy something and have to replace it in 7 years. The long life is huge. And it looks cool too. It really does. It's not the big heavy luggy thing you got to put on the wall. It's not the bunch of shelves and everything. It's not the big huge enclosure. No. If I'm going to put it in my home or my business, I want it to look cool as well. Who designed the HomeGrid look? The style. Who designed that? Kudos, man. Kudos, Christensen.
Thank you. Yeah. We started with kind of more of the server rack method that a lot were used to before. And then we've been making modifications, sometimes significant modifications to the product line over the last couple of years. And we plan on continually innovating. We have some very exciting new innovations, new products coming out in the near future. That's even I think will be one of the most really most significant transformations in the landscape. I think we've really been able to produce the best battery on the market, and I think it not only does what you hope it will do, but it also looks great in your home. But then, coming soon this year, you're going to see some pretty amazing modifications that I think most will be pretty blown away by. I think it's going to be some pretty top-notch stuff.
You're teasing something cool. I love it. Just around the corner, we got ourselves some innovation, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Spencer. I just realized, holy smokes, we could be here for 5 hours talking. I'll let you get back to it. But wow, yeah, thank you very much for stopping by the Beyond Emissions podcast today. Spencer Christensen, founder, director of HomeGrid Battery by Lithion. And you can get your HomeGrid batteries today. Click below on the link, join Soligent as a dealer, and become an installer of HomeGrid. Now, real quick before we go, Spencer, do you have to get certified or anything like that, or do you just have to kind of know what you're doing and be a certified electrician, solar installer? Can if I just do regular solar, do I have to go through a 10-week course to install HomeGrid, or is it pretty easy to figure out if I'm already experienced in electricity and installing solar, etc.?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you go on our website, you can find some of our videos, our tutorials. You can find them on YouTube as well. We have a bunch of tutorials there. And I think what you'll find is after watching a 4-minute video, 5-minute video, you're going to be completely comfortable installing one of our batteries. We say that they're like Legos, but I did Legos with my nephew over Christmas, and this is significantly easier than that. There's no certification process necessary. You watch our little tutorial video and you're good to go. If you do have questions, please reach out to us. We've got great tech support for you. But frankly, on the battery side of the equation, it's as easy as it gets. Most of our installers watch the video, throw one in, and after that, they're whipping these out in 30 minutes, 40 minutes most.
That's a lot easier than some other brands out there where it's like, okay, we want you to go through our 5-week certification course so that you can install our batteries. Like, what?
Totally.
Hold on a second. I'm taking notes. Did I make a mistake? No, we need it simplified and made easier, and you did that. At HomeGrid. Thanks for joining us on the Beyond Emissions podcast. Thank you for your never-ending support, educating us and our listeners, our customers, every single day at Soligent as we strive to create this world that is beyond emissions. Real quick before you go, Spencer Christensen, HomeGrid, director and founder of HomeGrid Battery by Lithion, available here at Soligent. Real quick before you go, remind our listeners again how they can reach you, any parting thoughts you have. I know you're coming back. We've got some more innovation to discuss just around the corner. You said in a few months, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Folks, Soligent audience, we'll be talking to you about that innovation forthcoming, right?
Absolutely.
I love it when you tease stuff like that. Spencer, thanks for being on the show. Let our listeners know again how they can contact you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. On our website, we have a lot of resources. You can find any of our spec sheets or videos, links to our YouTube content. We try to, have everything readily available for you there. If you want to reach out, and we highly recommend it, that you reach out to us. If you go to the contact page on homegridenergy.com, on the contact page, you can find our tech support number. And then if you look, you can see the map of the U.S. broken down into different regions, different territories. So I've got a great team, very well trained up team that can help you answer any questions that you may have on our products, but also they're very well versed on solar in general, and will be great resources all around.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. Spencer, hang on the line for our engineers. Thank you. Spencer Christensen, director and also founder of HomeGrid by Lithion. HomeGrid lithium iron phosphate, safe, long life, easy to install program solutions. Available by Soligent. Click on the link below. Okay. Click on the link below. Until next time, we've got some great shows coming up as well. You can check this out on demand, along with all of our other past Beyond Emissions by Soligent episodes, available at the Soligent Beyond Emissions Spotify channel, and also as well right here at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe, click on the notification bell in the corner, type down in the comment section. Be a part of this ongoing conversation about creating a world that is beyond emissions. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Brumm, Beyond Emissions host and energy storage manager for Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas.
We at Soligent are incredibly excited to announce our partnership with GivePower. Well, we wouldn't be here today talking to you about GivePower if it wasn't for our partners, LoanPal. They've been with GivePower since the beginning. Their contribution has given water and light to countless people across the globe. We are truly inspired by LoanPal's dedication to the cause. Something LoanPal said really strikes a chord regarding GivePower, that this is something that's more than money. It's what makes making money more worthwhile. In a lot of ways, that's synonymous with what we're doing here at Soligent.
Here's how you can help.
What we've decided to do is compound LoanPal's contribution by donating to GivePower on every order paid via our direct pay program through LoanPal. That's right. Every time your company uses your LoanPal portal to pay Soligent for material, 5 people get clean drinking water for a full year.
Together we're stronger.
Together, we can choose to be extraordinary by giving to people who live outside our reach. To us, this means a lot more.
Soligent's purpose meets GivePower's mission. Join the impact. Soligent, Solar Engine. SolarEngineSolutions.com. Go there to find out more. CALSSA, CALSSA, stands for California Solar and Storage Association. Join over 700 companies, including Soligent, and become a CALSSA member today. Go to www.calssa.org/join and enter Soligent as the discount code and receive 10% off your first year. Membership starts as low as $500 per year and covers you and your entire company. You can pay in monthly installments or once per year. Why join CALSSA? For over 40 years, CALSSA has been fighting for your rights in California. If you're an installer or contractor in California, it's CALSSA working behind the scenes on your behalf to protect the solar and energy storage business you and your companies rely on each day. Imagine the utilities are totally unchecked without CALSSA fighting for you. CALSSA fights for your rights and also provides resources like direct one-on-one support from their experts to help you with your questions, navigating everything from NEM 3 to battery fire code compliance. CALSSA will help you and your company to stay up to date on the latest policy changes that impact the California solar and storage market and your bottom line. Joining CALSSA helps to fund their work to lobby for cutting solar and storage red tape, pass pro-solar laws, and to defend your business from attacks. Become a CALSSA member today at www.calssa.org/join and enter the discount code Soligent to receive 10% off your first year. CALSSA is fighting for you and your business. Join over 700 companies like Soligent and make a difference in the California solar and energy storage market today.